Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Secret Life of Mormon Wives. This is episode 3. We're watching the second half of the episode. Let's see what happens.
That's genuinely the closest I feel to heaven.
Big, slow breaths.
Okay, so Whitney's in the hospital. She's having her baby. Cute. Okay, cute. Okay, so the girls are getting together and they are at a farm with their kids and they're talking about Jen and the group dynamics, and Miranda's here.
She's done things that have bitten her own self in the ass.
So are you guys all not cool with Jen?
I feel like I'm just not her biggest fan for what she's done to like you, especially.
What'd she do to you?
I was one of the girls that went on the Italy trip at Vanderpump Villa this summer, and I know for a fact that nothing happened with Demi and the guys.
Jen was definitely judging Demi for being flirty with these guys, but then Jen turned around and flipped it as a way to use it against her, almost as blackmail.
We had to sit down and talk with her and Zack.
So the girls are talking about the trip they made to Italy and how Demi was kind of like flirting a little bit, but it was okay in her marriage, and how Jen was kind of weaponizing that. And now Demi is trying to explain how they sat down with Zack and had the conversation with him. So they're basically just filling the girls in.
I think that when Jen is in situations where she feels that she's ganged up on and isolated, she likes to deflect and kind of throw out whatever.
Ooh, actually, very common in very traumatized people. And I hate to say this, but interestingly enough, and again, we're not therapists here, but actually pretty common in a lot of like personality disorder people. And I get this as a person who was diagnosed with BPD in 2017. I don't operate this way, and I'm sure you don't either, but I'm sure you know what it's like to have like an intrusive thought where when you're feeling attacked or ganged up on, you want to react with like the most vindictive, but thank goodness my values don't allow me to do that. Even if I have the thought, I don't act on the thought. Versus I've seen other people with very loose values that when they're triggered, they go for the low blow. Like we've all gone for a low blow at one point in our life. But I know some people who every time they feel activated, they go for the like the knife, the dagger in the gut. And I know we all can have the thought, girl. I know we're all sassy enough to have the thought. But usually our values keep us from saying it out loud because we know it's wrong. And it feels like Jen does do that. Jen gets activated, and then she'll start attacking and attacking and attacking. And it's too bad to see. You know, it's a bummer.
Daggers she can to take the heat off of herself.
Her motives.
It's actually a protective measure. And I know she's doing it to protect herself. But just because we're protecting ourselves doesn't mean we're also not hurting other people. And I know this as a person who protects herself by isolating. Usually it does hurt our family and friends when we go cold turkey, when we don't talk to them. And I haven't done this in many, many years. Now I can verbalize, hey, I'm going to need a little bit of break. I feel like when we talk to each other, it activates us. Let's take a break, especially when you grow up as a queer person with conservative parents. My conservative parents can still get me activated. So I usually say, I love you. I'm going to take a break, but I'll talk to you guys again soon. And instead of blocking them or telling them to f off or being really rude, I just say, hey, I'm going to need some space. I feel like, again, you're bringing your religion into our relationship and it doesn't work with my values. So I'm going to need a break. Versus before, I'd be like, I'm never talking to you again. Like, I never want to see these people again. I hope they rot in hell. I don't act that way towards people anymore, right? So I think, you know, depending on where you are in your healing journey, your reaction will change. And I think Jen's just not where she needs to be. But she is, ironically enough, doing it to protect herself. So again, you see how we can explain why people's trauma informs them on how to protect themselves, and why we can still hold ourselves accountable and say, even though it's a protective measure, it's still not a healthy way of coping. Let's get a healthier way of expressing our boundaries and thoughts to people. I remember when my therapist made me go apologize to people that I've hurt, including my parents. And she was like, yes, your parents are the reason you have borderline. Yes, your parents have been toxic and abusive. Yes, your parents have done all these things. And you need to apologize for the ways you've hurt people without creating a but in the sentence. In the same way that you wish your parents would apologize, you should go apologize and just say, I'm sorry for the things that I did that I think were wrong, and leave it at that. And that's how I learned how to really apologize to people, because I am sorry. I don't want to be that person. I don't want to act this way. Regardless of why I'm activated, regardless of why I did it, I shouldn't do it. I don't want to be the Brittany that justifies bad behavior because I'm activated.
Are not good. So I'm just like, until I see different, like this is where we are.
There's still so much I feel like I have to catch up on, guys.
Yeah.
So the girls just basically said if Jen doesn't change her behavior, then they're going to continue acting the way that they are and being concerned about her behavior and how safe they are interacting with her. And then the scene switches. They go off with the kids a bit. And now Taylor and Miranda are sitting down to have a conversation alone.
Miranda was like another level of like friendship. Like she was my best friend. Like we would talk 2 hours a day on the phone. I'd see her probably 3 times a week, and it ended overnight.
Damn.
If you're gonna like come into our circle again and come into Mom Talk, I would hope at this point you're willing to like be open and honest.
That is so hard to have somebody you talk to every day, you see so often, and then boom, overnight you don't see them. And I will say, this happens. Sometimes it happens for a good reason. And sometimes it happens because there's just like unhealed trauma. But I'm proud of them for being able to talk about it. But that doesn't mean they should be friends. Even if they're both good people, even if they talk about it, it doesn't really mean they should be friends again. I really think when you're lucky enough to have those kind of soulmatey friendships, those are the friendships that you do work through. You do get through things, but also sometimes it's not meant to last that long. So let's see where they are at. Because I don't know if this is like somebody they're going to grow old with or not.
We should have a conversation because your stories still are like a little different. And so I'm just confused. Like I feel like a lot of animosity still like about the whole situation.
The only time I like touched anyone or did anything with anyone was kissing.
I'm hoping Taylor is ready to really have what I hope is the final conversation. I just want to clear it up once and for all.
I think when people think like swinging parties was not really like, I guess for me, like what I would picture.
Maybe we have a different definition of involvement then. I didn't mean sex. I just meant we were all doing things with each other.
Taylor, when people hear swinging, when they hear hooking up, they mean sex. But I get it. They're Mormon. They're sheltered. They're uneducated. Is this Mormon on Mormon crime? Because I don't understand how Taylor could have thought that hooking up or swinger culture was anything but sex to people. If they weren't all having sex with each other, like, girl, you guys can figure it out. But also, even if they were having sex, y'all need to figure it out. But sex is certainly not kissing. I just feel like, again, I want to judge people based off the context. And I do think there's a difference between kissing somebody and having sex with them.
I don't want to get it twisted. Height of what I was involved in was kissing people.
It wasn't just kissing.
She said it wasn't just kissing. Does she mean oral?
I don't know what to say about it. Yeah, it's true, but like also not. It's just downplaying what actually happened.
Interesting. So she's saying Miranda is downplaying what happened, and I feel like Taylor is exaggerating what happened. What's the truth?
I feel like it's like we did everything Love Island does. Seen Love Island where they play the games,
But it was just kind of like,
plus a little more.
No one had sex, as far as I know. So.
Yes, you didn't have sex with the husbands, but like you didn't just kiss people though.
This feels like the JoJo Siwa situation all over again, where everyone's like, JoJo Siwa was like cheating on her partner. Like, yeah, JoJo Siwa emotionally cheated on her partner, but it wasn't sex. And it's not that it's any better. I need to make that abundantly clear, but the context is different. It is literally different. It has to be contextually different, right? It's still cheating. It's still bad. But in this situation, it's still intimacy, but it's different forms of intimacy. It's like flirting with somebody, kissing somebody, oral sex. You know what I mean? Like penetrative sex. Like these things are all different layers of intimacy. And it feels like whatever happened at first base, second base. Like kids in middle school, kissing, not a big deal. Kids in middle school having sex, pause. Pause. 12-year-olds having sex, pause. You know what I mean? You kissing versus having sex, different. It's different. The situation is different.
You participated in all these things. I mean, I could just start listing them. We did have sex in the shower with our husbands all together. We also had sex in the same bed at the same time.
Yeah, sure. I've done all that stuff. Like, okay. But it's still not the same thing. I've had a threesome with somebody where my friends are in a couple and the male partner and me had sex with the non-binary partner. Like, me and him focused on them, but like we didn't have sex together. I've never had sex with him. I've never even kissed him. I've never even touched him intimately, but we had sex with them and this partner. Like, see how that's different? So if somebody said, have you had sex with this person? I'd say no, because I haven't, because I've only had sex with this person. It feels like Taylor's like saying like we all had sex together. We did not all have sex together, but maybe that's too autistically like defined. I just think like, if I told people we all had sex together, they're going to think we all had sex together, which is not true.
We would blindfold each other and you would have to guess which husband you were kissing. And a couple of times we did that.
It's like, girl, this is so Mormon on Mormon crime. She's acting like a kid who's like, actually, we did a lot.
Also had a night where it was just 4 husbands and you and me. They asked us to go get in short shorts, so we did. And then we came down and we were so drunk, we were making out and we were on top of each other and they all filmed it on their phones.
So, Jesus, Taylor's being such a I can't tell if she's being prudish or if she's being like, what are you, 12? You know, I don't know.
I mean, Taylor's not wrong. At this point, I don't even know if I should say, yes, I am a swinger, or no, I'm not a swinger.
You're not swingers. You're not by any definition swingers. You're people who were experimenting. You're allowed to experiment without owning a label, guys. Just because you kissed a girl doesn't mean you're bisexual. Please tell me what you guys think. I gotta know. What do you guys think?
You guys can call it whatever you want. You tell me if I know or not.
When I'm around her, I enjoy being around her.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, I'm glad to hear that maybe you guys are softening on her. It might be easier since she's around.
Well, I don't have any anger now. I'm still hesitant of the timing of things and the intentions, and she knows that.
The only thing that makes me nervous is just that she is attaching herself to like Jen.
Oh, interesting. So the girls are kind of talking amongst each other. They like Miranda better than they like Whitney, but they are concerned that she is attaching herself to Jen, which I guess is a concern. It's so interesting that these groups of girls are just always on the in and outs with each other. Group activities are hard. You know, that's why I'm not a fan of them. I'm just not a fan of group activities for exactly this reason. Like, you got to have a healthy group of people getting it together or things are just going to go bad.
Leave it all behind us for your sake, for my sake, for everyone's sake.
But I won't make you go into any details. If you're like saying, yeah, we did crazy stuff along with like kissing, then that makes sense to me. I just I wanted to make sure we were like on
The same page.
Yeah, Taylor's got a weird definition of things. I don't agree with Taylor's definition of things. I think I agree more with Miranda's. Literally, tell me your opinions, because I got to know. Because our community, our bubble, we just see things so differently than this bubble. I'm just so curious, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I don't even consider what they did really swinging, if I'm going to be honest. It just feels like experimentation.
I do feel like Miranda is trying to take the steps of admitting the things that she has done and just taking accountability. I know her very well, and I think there's a part of her that's very uncomfortable admitting those things, knowing that family and friends are gonna know and see and hear about it. And it's like, I have a really soft spot for her in my heart, and I still do.
I wonder if because Taylor said she feels like trash and she feels like her parents make her feel bad about herself and, quote, giving it up too soon. I wonder if she's over exaggerating what she did because she's Mormon. I really think this might be a religious trauma for Taylor, and she's projecting that onto Miranda, and she's making Miranda, quote, admit or feel guiltier about what she did, even though to Miranda, it wasn't that big of a deal. Taylor's like, no, it was a big deal. And I'm like, it was not that big of a deal, girl. But the problem is, because it was all consensual, right? Like, it's not a big deal. But I think this is Taylor's trauma, maybe, and she's projecting it onto Miranda. What do you guys think?
The whole like Chase thing and like his feelings and all of that was just like gut wrenching. You know, I'm feeling like double betrayal.
Yes.
Betrayal from like my husband and from my best friend. There was just so much that I couldn't do the friendship anymore. And I understand that like wasn't fair to you.
Shout out to my besties for never being interested in the same people as me. I am so glad that in all the years of experimentation and doing all the things I've ever done, like, I have never involved my besties in these things. My good friends, but not my besties. I feel like because my besties feel like siblings. You know what I'm saying? We don't share like that. We don't do that kind of stuff. And I just shout out to that reality because I think it saves me from a lot. But my good friends and I have interacted in our past years. And it's funny, in all the years I've been to dungeons, done BDSM, done kink, I've never been to a swinger dungeon, never swinged it. Because look, when you're BDSM and kink, and you're poly and your partners are having sex with each other, or we're all having an orgy, none of that is swinging. Swinging culture is very specific. So I've never been a swinger. But to the outside looking in, you might think like that's what swinging is. That's not what swinging is. Swinging is very different.
Like, I could see how betraying that would be.
Yeah.
I would be really sad about it.
Yeah.
So I hold that on me too a lot. So it's not fair to hold resentment with you, because I'm just like, I was not a good friend at that time.
Okay, the girls are making up. I'm not sure that's going to be a strong friendship, if I'm being honest, because it still feels like they actually have a deviation in perception. And this is the make or break for long-term relationships. Even with our friends, just like with our partners, do we see reality enough to maintain a friendship? Because too much deviation in the reality is going to cause the rift. It's why with siblings or other friends, you eventually do move away from one another, because the reality is so different. You just can't, because you can't be at get-togethers and disagreeing on little details like this. Like, the girls are literally disagreeing on the relationship with the words, which is going to cause the girls to always feel like they're fighting about it. So let's see how long this lasts.
Sorry. I was a really bad friend, and maybe I was a bad person, and I'm sure Taylor can relate, but it was a lot.
Man, they're holding so much guilt for something that shouldn't have been this bad. Like, maybe I'm forgetting a detail or something, but it feels like I can't tell what is the religious trauma and then what is just regular like friend trauma. Like, there was a miscommunication. There was an issue with the husband. Chase was definitely a negative element of it, but it feels like everyone's like, I was a bad person. I was a bad person. Didn't you guys all consensually decide to be a little toxic together, like a little messy, and then it just ended up going badly? And then Taylor's the one who spilled everyone's secret to the internet. So honestly, like, Taylor's kind of the most effed up one in the situation in a way, because she didn't allow those other people to even have a chance to tell their own story in a sense. Like, yeah, it's hard. When do you get to tell your story, even though your story is somebody else's story? That's a constant question I ask myself.
Things we both did to each other.
Yeah.
I feel like that's fair to just let it go. Like, I'm like, leave Taylor 2022 like in the past, because I feel like I'm a completely different person. I don't know if you can tell, but yeah, I just like, I do not like that version of myself.
It's true, Taylor has changed since the Taylor we met in season 1. I would say she's still on the healing journey, though. She still has a lot of activation and trauma and those triggers we saw at the dinner table the other day. So I would say like that's good. I don't know though, because it might feel like overpromising if they can just move on from it. I think Taylor's overpromising. I have a feeling Taylor is not going to get over it.
And I think that's why I'm stuck. I'm like not moved on, because I'm like, I don't know like, I can't even like actually talk about it, because it's like,
I think she's I think she's got too much trauma. I think she's not ready yet, but she will be. She will continue healing, hopefully.
I understand.
I just don't know how someone can be like that horrible.
You?
Yeah, like that person I was, like very selfish.
She's dealing with so much guilt. She really, I mean, girls, come on now. Did we murder somebody? Did we, assault somebody? Like, I know they had problems, and maybe I'm forgetting a detail, but it feels like there's just so much guilt, And this is why holding yourself accountable does need a moment of realizing how bad it was, but then you can't beat yourself up over it forever. I don't appreciate when people say like, this is going to haunt me for the rest of my life. Girl, it's not supposed to. Unless you did something egregious, it might take longer. But for most people, like don't let something like this haunt you for the rest of your life. Like, grow, move on. Grow, move on.
I feel like I was such like a good person up until like that time. And like, I was so loyal to my husband, to my best friend. Like, I told him like a lot, like, I'm not gonna do this, because I'm a loyal wife. And then I think as things went on, like, I got weaker and weaker the more we did it.
Hello, future editing, Brittany here. So I've Googled it. I've tried to find it. There are definitely some posts about Taylor cheating. It's a little confusing about who. There are some names that are being brought up. I'm not sure. So I'm not going to add it in terms of details to this video, but I just wanted to say that I did Google it, and allegedly she did have an actual affair with somebody else who we haven't seen on this season. If you have more details, leave them in the comment sections. I know some of you have given details, but if you could leave your resources as well, that'd be very helpful. Thank you. See, I don't understand the details. You got to tell me in the comments. Is she saying she cheated on her husband, or is she just saying that the thing they all did together was for her cheating because she's Mormon?
I don't know. I hate her. Like, I hate her.
Yeah, but Taylor, if you weren't her, you wouldn't be where you are now. Like, you.
Which I don't know is a good thing. Like, I'm like.
Yeah, but do you not think that you're better than where you were?
Yeah, I'm a better person. Hopefully, yeah.
Absolutely. Like, I told you how I've seen it in you. I think it's more than fair for you to give yourself a little bit of grace.
Hi,
of course they're right.
I wouldn't say I'm like besties with Whitney, but I have no issues with Whitney.
Okay, so Taylor is building the bridges back up with Whitney and the girls, which we saw in the last episode, which is good. But again, if this whole group is toxic, how long will it really last? Like, do you think they'll be doing mom talk when they're 80?
Here, if she needs a friend.
Oh,
it is tiny. So small. So Winnie reached out to me to get together to kind of just hash everything out. I feel like I reached out to you like ever so often. You didn't respond to me, and then all of a sudden you posted a personal text online. And then I'm like,
oh, damn, Whitney. So, okay, so she posted personal text between Macy and her online, and they didn't talk about it. Ooh, the drama. See, Taylor is telling secrets. She's telling secrets. Everyone's just out here.
what the hell? So it felt like a stab in the back, to be honest.
I wish that I would have just talked to you rather than running away, and I'm sorry.
It is amazing, though, how we come back from it, we move on. Because I don't know, even though it's toxic and it's bad, it is amazing what humans can overcome and move past. And on the scale of things that could have been destructive, I mean, really, it's not that big of a deal, but it's a big deal at the same time. Like, I certainly don't do this with my besties. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe YouTuber to YouTuber, because, like, you know what I mean? But I'm so glad, like, my best friends and I aren't on the internet, like, sharing messages. Like, girl, my internet life and my real life, they're very separate things. But see, with them, their real life and their online life is kind of connected, but like it's not the same for some of us.
What happened at the Halloween party?
Oh gosh, that was a nightmare.
Just maybe give her like a summary.
What happened?
What didn't happen, really?
I know Chase showed up because Miranda told me Chase was
Well, that's
going.
when chaos started.
Okay.
I think I want to come back into mom talk.
Whitney! Anyways, the girls just told her about the whole Halloween party, da-da-da-da. And Whitney's like, chaos, toxicity, I want back in.
I've definitely felt very isolated. It definitely feels like I have no one to turn to right now.
All right, so we're on Jen right now, and she is feeling like her friends are trying to sabotage her marriage. Interesting, because I really do think she's the one sabotaging it.
If you truly knew what I have been going through this past year, this is the last thing that you would be doing.
That feels manipulative given the context of everything. Also, is she holding a pregnancy test?
I mean, I'm 10 days late now, so.
Yeah, great time to have a baby. People are so irresponsible with babies.
Do you want to look at it together?
Yeah.
Please don't be pregnant. Please don't be pregnant. Please don't be pregnant.
I'm really scared.
Of course you're scared, girl. Your relationship's a mess. Everything's a mess in your life. You're a mess. You can't be having a baby right now. Of course you're scared. No, baby. No, baby.
I started feeling depressed and anxious because my life has been really rocky and all over the place.
Great time to have a baby.
So I am stressed out of my mind with the thought of me being pregnant because Zack and I aren't on the best of terms. And I think the last thing we need is another baby.
Hello, future editing Brittany here. It has come to my attention, thanks to you in the comment sections, that fun fact, when Jen and Zack were pregnant with baby number 2, apparently she tricked him into having that baby by taking out her IUD without telling him. And I just want to point out that once again, if you asked a person, do you believe in consent? They would say yes, but this is obviously a very obvious violation of consent. And I think it's just so disgusting.
There was other things going on. I was in the middle of like studying for the MCAT, trying to get into medical school. I was taking 21 credits to try to graduate from college. We had one and then a second baby back to back. Jen, like 6 months after she gave birth, she got pregnant again with her second baby.
Y'all be f***ing.
Which,
yeah.
she tricked. I got tricked into that. She took out her IUD without telling me, but yeah, that was stressful. So I was under a lot of stress.
What's worse, in interviews, they play it off with laughter. It's not funny, and I don't know why we're laughing.
Whoopsies. Whoopsies. Forgot to tell you. I'm okay.
Sometimes I do think people think their kids aren't observing them, but the child is aware her mom is sad. And I think people really think kids are so young, they don't really know what's happening. Kids are young, they don't know everything that's happening, but they still are being impacted by everything. Ugh. Listen, when I say this, when we say your environment raises you, we also mean this moment. We mean all of the moments. We don't just mean key sections. We mean 24/7, your physical environment, the way your parents act, the way they talk to each other, body language, the way they answer your questions, the way they ignore you and think toys are enough to distract you, as if kids aren't listening while they're playing with their toys.
Yep, I'm pregnant.
Lord. Come on, y'all. Couldn't pull out? Couldn't have done your weird soaking stuff? Couldn't figure it out? Human beings really are just like this evolved animals on a planet, having babies, not even thinking about it. You cannot tell me you were thoughtful about bringing this baby into the universe. Absolutely refuse to believe or engage in any reality in which these two were in any way thoughtful about bringing that baby into this toxic cycle.
Yeah, I'm just scared. I'm not the person I want to be before bringing in another child. So I'm sad for this child.
Like, I appreciate the sentiment, but I don't believe her. I don't really believe people are truly deeply understanding that you're bringing a whole ass consciousness into the universe and being like, get ready to pay taxes and deal with World War III, girls. You all are so casual about bringing babies into the universe.
I don't even know where my marriage is at. I think in this moment, I've kind of come to my breaking point.
Jen's come to her breaking point. Let's see what happens. Man, people really just having babies, you know? All right, excited for the next episode. Let's see where everything goes. Let me know what you guys think in the sections down below, because I know I've really give my opinion, but I'd really like to hear yours as well, especially as the series continues. Please try to keep spoilers out of the comment section, but if you're going to spoil something because you want to have a conversation with other people, maybe just put a spoiler tag on the comment so I don't read it. And with that said, thank you for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing this with somebody else watching this series, and I will see you guys for the next one. Bye-bye.